Yeah, so how you been?
Well, I haven't been doing much concerts lately for some strange reason.
Yeah. Yeah. I haven't been seeing too many concerts lately for some strange reason. Yeah, tell us how that impacted the band.
Well, it's weird. I mean, we're used to doing over 100 concerts a year anyway, and it's a, you know, economical consequences aside, which is tough enough as it is. It's made you realize how much you miss something that you sort of take for granted. But
Mm,
the other side of the coin is like when we did the album recording and writing the album, pretty much everything around that was totally unchanged. That's still something you don't have to deal with mass gatherings and a lot of. I mean, Scandinavia was pretty relaxed with the restrictions as well. So the actual writing and production of the album was pretty much same as usual, but
yeah.
everything else has changed.
Does the band get in their studio all as one, or is it sort of recorded individual parts and you're not sort of grouped together anyway?
Now, we've always done sort of linear recordings, at least for the last, I don't know, decade and a half, it feels like. So we write the music first, and it's, pretty much set what we're going to do. Not exactly on every level. I mean, if I write a song, I program the drums sort of to give Hannes an idea what kind of beat I had in mind, but I'm not telling him which drum fills to do.
Hmm.
But then, yeah, it starts out with me, Jonas, the producer, and Hannes, and then we're there for a couple of days. We lay down the drums, then it's a short break, set everything up in the project, and then we start bringing in people one by one, sort of.
Yeah.
Sometimes, usually when we do guitars, we have both guitarists there at the time. So yeah, at the maximum we were 4 people in the studio.
Yeah, okay. Now, with the new album coming out, The War to End All Wars, once again, World War One is the base. Now, there'd be a fair bit of research to be done when writing lyrics, especially for this, wouldn't there?
Oh yes, luckily enough we had a solid solid ground to stand upon when since we did the previous album about the same conflict, sort of,
Mm.
which is both a blessing and a curse. In a way, we knew more getting in. We had those stories that we wanted to tell already on the Great War, but we didn't have the right music. Like Christmas Truce and Hellfighters were 2 songs we really wanted on Great War, but we didn't have the right music. Now we could, make sure we had that. On the other hand, a lot of the sort of greatest hits are taken already when it comes to story.
One track which stood out to me, and I've just finished doing a bit of research myself because I hadn't really been that familiar with the story, is Lady of the Dark.
Yep.
Tell us a bit about that one.
Serbian woman called Milunka Savic, who, well, what makes the story of her fantastic isn't only sort of limited to the First World War, but, as a person in total in life. So I would recommend anyone to Google her and check it out for herself. Because if I start talking too much about her, we'll be doing nothing else. But basically, yeah, Serbian girl who took her brother's place in war and badass with the grenades and so on and so forth.
Yeah, I was going to use the word badass, but yeah, it's good that you did. When you said that most of the greatest hits, if you like, were already taken on the Great War, then how did you go about filling this album? Not that there's fillers or great songs on there, but where did you look for the stories then?
Well, we had a few we encountered already when making the Great War. I mean, as I said, Christmas Truce and Hellfighters. But there were a few more that were sort of on our radar. But then we also had a huge influx of new ideas, especially when we announced sort of the Great War, which is back in 2019, even before the album was released. And people started, commenting or sending us emails. This better be on it or I'm going to fucking kill you guys. No, thanks to our friends and also our fans, we've had a huge influx because every country has its own history. And, what's common knowledge in Australia might be unheard of by the common man in Sweden and vice versa. So we had a lot of these how the fuck did we not know this moments, which is lucky. So I mean, it wasn't like we were running out of stories. It was more like, oh shit, there's so much we can't cover it all, you know.
Yeah. So we've got some ideas already for the next album.
Yeah, well, I mean, we still have several songs we feel, or sort of topics we felt like we couldn't cover. Yeah. On the other hand, we don't feel like, at least at this moment, I'd be very surprised if the next album we do is gonna be a World War I theme. It feels like, yeah, we're done with that era for now, you know.
Yeah. Okay. So we've got this album coming out on March 4. What can happen after that? Is there touring lined up over there? Is there an opening? What's the deal? It's a bit hard to tell from over here on the other side of the world.
Yeah, we're starting touring in April in Sweden.
Mm.
And then we'll see, because I mean we were supposed to have a European tour from March 4th, actually, same day as the album was supposed to be released. But with right before Christmas and after Christmas there, a lot of new restrictions were coming, and when dealing with a European tour, it's one of the trickier ones to deal with, actually, because it's a lot of countries. I mean, let's say we do 25 shows, we're going to hit 18 or 20 different countries.
Yeah.
And they all have different governments and different restrictions and rules and quarantine. And if you travel from this country, are these restrictions going to be lifted, yes or no? So we had to reschedule that one, unfortunately. But dealing with, I mean, a Swedish tour, or an Australian tour, or a tour of the United States, then you'd only have to deal with sort of one government and those restrictions. And it's easier to get indications than to see, will we be allowed to do this? So, and Sweden lifted pretty much all restrictions from the 9th of February today. So it is looking good. And then we have festivals in the summer. So I think we're really seeing the start of it all. It might take some time until we're up to full speed again, but at least we're doing shows.
Yeah. Tell us about those European festivals, because over here on the other side of the world, you see the lineups with all the different bands go, and if you'll pardon my language here, as an Australian, you see them and you go, oh, fuck me. I mean, you're looking back at the flyers and you see all these bands and you think, man, they must just be insane. What are they like from the inside?
Oh, it's different depending on the festival, but I mean, in many cases, as you say, no matter if it's Wacken or, look at the lineup for Hellfest this coming year, 2022. If you look at that lineup, what's going on during those 10 days, or is it a week? I don't remember exactly, but that is, I think that is the coolest rock concert to happen since Woodstock, basically.
Yeah, right. Guess what I'm Googling right now?
Yeah, I'd recommend anyone to do it. And if you're going to one festival in 2022, and if it's possible and it's happening, I'd recommend anyone Hellfest in France. That is insane. I mean, I'm really looking forward to Grass Pop in Belgium and all the other ones we're doing as well. It's just that Hellfest has something that, holy hell, I've never seen anything like it in my life. And I seriously doubt we're going to see it in our lifetime. Such a festival again, you know.
Yeah, that is insane, isn't it?
But I mean, sometimes we travel in by flight. We have we have to, with festival summers, it's, can be quite hectic, or it can be super nice, because sometimes it's like we have 2 sets of stage set, basically. So we'll have, because we can't be in Finland the one day and in Spain the next day, and transport our stage sets and stuff. So we'll have one set of trucks and equipment rolling into Finland and one to Spain, and then we might have to go into Finland, play the show, and skip directly back to the hotel or to an airport, and go to the flying. So it could be a little bit stressful, actually, in those cases. But on the other hand, when you roll in with a tour bus or you have the time to stay, it's super nice, because there's going to be a lot of bands you might want to catch and see. And also, I mean, depending on the other band situation as well, but you usually have, on any big European festivals, there's going to be 5 or 6 other bands coming through that are going to be friends of yours or old touring mates. So then, of course, it's all down to their schedule and which day they're playing,
Now, you mentioned your stage set. Your stage set is pretty full on, and there's a fair bit of stage production involved. How hard is that to organise, or is it all left to someone else and you guys just concentrate on the music? Are you involved with once you sort of contribute to what you would like on stage, the bit about making it happen, who does that?
The bit about making it happen as it's, as we're building it, designing it, that's really a lot of us in it, But then actually dealing with getting it in from, transporting it from Portugal to the United States, that's basically, we're aware of what's happening, but we are not dealing with it on a day-to-day basis.
Mm. Have you had any Black Sabbath / Spinal Tap moments regarding your stage set?
Yeah, we learned when it comes to, going inside the EU, it's pretty easy and relaxed. But, let's say we transport stuff to the United States, you have to then file for this Chamber of Trade and Commerce, and you make a list of all the items. If you have a tank, as stage as we do, don't fucking name it as a tank on that customs paper. That will cause a lot of problems. If you write stage prop, and then sort of in the shape of a tank, you're fine. But do not write fucking tank, you'll be in trouble. We had that trick. We almost missed. We made it finally, but we almost missed having the tank on a show in Canada once. But we learned.
Does it cause any, mainly at festivals here, does it cause any time slot problems? I'll tell you why I asked that question. At one of the festivals here a number of years ago, Amon Amarth played, and with their Viking longboat prop on stage, they should have been on late in the afternoon, but they were the first band on because they wouldn't have been able to set up their ship in between bands. So they had to sort of set it up and be first and then leave. So I saw them at 11 o'clock in the morning. Has it caused any sort of issues like that over time? Because you've got so much on stage?
Yeah, I mean, we don't really, we have to plan that and talk to the promoters and, make clear and sort of send all the schematics and information about sizes and stuff already the day, several days in advance, or weeks in advance many times, already when setting up the billing. And in many cases, sort of reserve a space in the back of the stage. We built it modularly, so we can sort of build it and other bands can perform in front. But sometimes our crew had to build a lot of the stage set, the night before, because they need the whole stage or a lot of it while setting up. Yeah. So they start, after sort of the headliner the day before, and then they build everything and then sort of push a lot of it back and, don't, set up the whole thing, but most of it. And then it stays there until late next evening when we're playing. And then they just push things forward and put up the final parts and the pyro. But in many cases, I would say half of our stuff is already on stage but hidden, and a lot of the rest is sort of, prepared and in front of the stage and ready to be lifted.
Yeah, okay. In touring, or looking back over your time, any funny stories that come to mind that you wouldn't mind sharing?
Here's the thing, there's so many, I wouldn't even know which one.
What's the first one that come to mind?
Funny stories while touring. Well, we had them all from, funny drinking stories, things ending up not as it was, heartwarming stories and crazy shit going wrong. But here's the thing, normally I'd have no problem in a normal conversation to pick up 100, but as soon as somebody asks the question, all of a sudden they're all gone, And the few ones that comes to mind aren't really aren't suitable for broadcasting. Yeah, but I mean, everything fun has happened. Everything from, people asking us on signing sessions, will you sign anything? Yeah, sure. And, everything from whipping their dick out to, lifting their girlfriend up and wanting us to sign her butt, to crazy stuff happening on stage with band members jumping down into the crowd and spending time there instead of playing. It's like, what the fuck's going on here,
Well, you couldn't think of any stories, but you just told me a few, so we'll move on from that. Well done. Tell us about these film clips that you came out with, Soldier of Heaven and Christmas Truce. Anything you want to share with those?
No, Christmas Truce was quite funny because it was very different from how we normally record videos. First of all, the team, we were talking about over 100 people on set, but, they don't do music videos at all. They do movies. And I mean, a lot of these people have been on Hollywood movies who did that clip. And we wanted to minimize our role as musicians as much as possible. Obviously, I'm playing the piano in a trench, but that actually happened. People were playing pianos in trenches in World War I. Not on, everywhere. I'm not saying it happened everywhere. But we wanted to put the story in the front line, sort of, not us playing music. And we felt like, it's really an expensive video to make in a time where we are not making that much money thanks to a lack of concerts. But we felt like this is one of the best stories in military history. This is a song we sort of talked about and dreamed about doing for such a long time that we cannot cheap out on this one. So we decided to, against all recommendations from everyone else in the organization, to go all in basically on that video. And obviously several days of shooting, and it was really cool because there's basically no computer graphics or anything at all. When you see muzzle flashes, that is actually because there were muzzle flashes there. I mean, we're firing blanks, of course, but when you see explosions and us getting dirty, that's because there was an explosion and we got dirty. Yeah. When you see a explosion and this guy falling away from the grenade or the shockwave of the grenade, that's a stuntman, and real. What do you call it? A bungee cord pulling him, flying him. Of course, that bungee cord is hidden in the explosion and with the correct colors. And maybe a little bit of it was removed in post-production. But we're talking about let's say what you would do sort of in 80s or 90s, there could be a little bit of help from a computer or something could be removed, but pretty much everything you did for real. And that was really nice, especially when in many cases we're used to green screens or, a lot of computer graphics and a lot of stuff being changed. And to act with that helps a lot. You have a physical object. Hey, look there, do that. And in a green screen situation, I'm supposed to anticipate something happening, something coming at me. While now I could actually see it. So it helped a lot, actually.
Yeah, it's a pretty spectacular clip, isn't it?
Yeah, we decided to do it all in. But it's really nice, and we wanted to show sort of the spirit of the Christmas truce, how soldiers from different sides came together and decided to, okay, let's not kill each other for a couple of hours here. Yeah. And we also split the band up between different nationalities. So a few of us are German, Tommy is French, Chris is British. So we'd have, some of the players at least represented.
No, well done. I think it's very well done indeed.
Thank you very much.
We're probably getting to the end of my slot here, so we should probably wrap it up. So what I will do is wish you all the very best with this new album, The War to End All Wars, which is quite spectacular and some very interesting subject matter covered in it. And I think you've done it really well. So thanks for your time. Best of luck with it. Hope you get out on the road. I really do. I hope you get a really good tour under your belt, and I hope we can see some light down the track.
I think we're already there. Thanks for having me, man.